Lila Thompson and her daughter Mia never imagined that a simple afternoon at the park would turn into a nightmare. But one hidden camera would expose a shocking truth that would shake their quiet neighborhood to its core. The morning sunlight streamed gently over the quiet suburban streets, casting long shadows from the neatly trimmed trees that lined the sidewalks. Birds chirped from their perches, and a few early joggers moved steadily along the paved paths, headphones in and eyes focused on the ground ahead. At first glance, the neighborhood seemed peaceful and ordinary, the kind of place where children could ride their bikes without worry and neighbors greeted each other warmly. Life followed a predictable rhythm, and the residents were proud of the sense of security they had cultivated over the years. The local community center, a small brick building surrounded by flower beds, had recently installed new security cameras to monitor the parking lot and the adjacent park. Most people barely noticed the devices, assuming they were just part of modern safety measures. That morning, the community center staff uploaded a routine video compilation to the local website, a short montage highlighting events from the past week. Footage showed children laughing on swings, elderly couples walking dogs, and the occasional cyclist passing through. It was meant to be harmless, a simple glimpse into the life of a tight-knit neighborhood. But as viewers scrolled through the clip, one frame caused jaws to drop and hearts to skip. The screen froze on a moment that seemed almost unreal. A figure appeared in the park, moving with sudden aggression toward a young girl who was sitting near a bench. The image was blurry, the details obscured, yet the intent was unmistakable. The figure raised a hand, and the girl flinched in fear before stumbling backward. The video captured the attack in its brief, terrifying instant, leaving no question about the severity of what had occurred. The community website's comment section erupted immediately. People shared their shock and disbelief, some questioning if the video had been staged or manipulated. Others tried to identify the attacker, scanning the frame for familiar faces, but the image offered little more than a vague silhouette. Parents of children who frequented the park were filled with panic, imagining their own children in the same situation. Local news stations picked up the story, broadcasting the frame repeatedly, each time emphasizing the unknown identity of the woman in the clip. Authorities responded quickly, contacting the community center for the full footage and promising an investigation, but the initial tension was palpable. Within hours, the quiet neighborhood transformed into a place of unease. Conversations in front yards and coffee shops revolved around the image of the mysterious attacker. People began to look over their shoulders, children were kept close, and strangers passing through drew wary glances. No one could explain why such a violent act had happened in a space that had always felt safe. The girl who had been attacked was taken home by her mother, visibly shaken but physically unharmed. Her confusion mirrored that of the entire community. How could someone so close to them commit such a shocking act? As investigators reviewed the footage and began interviewing witnesses, a sense of dread settled over the town. The kind of fear that comes from realizing that a single moment, captured on camera, can change everything in an instant. The day that began like any other ended with questions that had no easy answers. And a hidden threat had suddenly emerged from the shadows of ordinary life. Investigators approached the case with a mix of urgency and caution. Every frame of the footage was scrutinized, replayed, and analyzed, yet the identity of the attacker remained frustratingly unclear. The figure's face was obscured by movement and distance, leaving only vague features and a glimpse of a distinctive tattoo on the forearm. That small detail became the first thread in what would slowly unravel the mystery. Detectives compiled a list of residents who matched the general description, focusing on those known to frequent the park or the surrounding streets. The tattoo, a series of geometric lines forming a unique pattern, became a critical point of comparison. As the investigation unfolded, rumors began to circulate among neighbors. People speculated quietly at first, then more openly, trying to piece together the puzzle themselves. Social media pages were flooded with screenshots of the blurry figure, and online communities debated theories late into the night. Some pointed to women who were known to have tempers, others to those who had recently had conflicts with families in the neighborhood. Despite the speculation, no one had concrete information. Residents were careful, wary of falsely accusing someone in a community that had always been close-knit and trusting. Meanwhile, the girl's family struggled with the emotional aftermath of the attack. She had been fortunate to escape serious physical harm, but the psychological impact was evident. She seemed wary of being outdoors, her laughter subdued, her once carefree energy replaced with cautious glances toward unfamiliar figures. Investigators worked to balance the need for thorough questioning with sensitivity to her trauma. They retraced the girl's steps in the park that day, hoping to identify any overlooked witnesses, and distributed still images of the tattoo to local law enforcement and online networks. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. A neighbor, scrolling through the community center's online footage late at night, noticed something peculiar. In one frame, the silhouette of the attacker moved with a distinctive gait, a way of shifting weight that seemed familiar. The neighbor recalled seeing a woman who lived nearby, someone they had often passed on morning walks, exhibiting that same movement. The detail was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it gave investigators a tangible lead. They began narrowing their focus, cross-referencing residents who lived near the park with those who had the type of tattoo seen in the footage. As they compiled the list, the tension in the neighborhood grew. Parents became increasingly protective, checking playgrounds before allowing children outside. Conversations in homes and public spaces centered on speculation and fear, and a sense of unease settled over the streets. Even routine activities like walking a dog or collecting mail carried a weight of anxiety. People realized that someone capable of such an act had been walking among them unnoticed, blending into daily life. The investigation revealed the unnerving truth. In a community that prided itself on familiarity and safety, darkness could hide behind the most ordinary appearances. The puzzle was far from solved, but each discovery, no matter how small, pushed the investigation closer to exposing the person responsible for the attack, while the neighborhood collectively held its breath, waiting for the next revelation. Days passed with little new information, but investigators refused to relent. Every lead was pursued and every detail was carefully examined. The breakthrough came when enhanced footage from the community center revealed more than had initially been visible. The blurred figure in the park was now unmistakably a woman, her posture and movements giving subtle clues to her identity. Her clothing and hair were familiar to those who lived nearby, and for the first time, detectives felt they were closing in on someone within the community itself. It was a realization that sent shockwaves through the team. This was not a stranger, not an intruder, but someone who had been living quietly among them. Authorities quietly visited her neighborhood, observing without alerting the residents. They noted the woman's routines, her interactions with neighbors, and the rhythm of her daily life. To all appearances, she led a normal existence. She smiled when greeted, carried groceries, and maintained a tidy home. Nothing in her outward behavior suggested the violence captured on camera. Yet the footage told a different story, one that was undeniable. Her presence in the park at the exact moment of the attack could not be explained away. Investigators began to piece together a timeline of her movements, cross-referencing it with security footage from surrounding streets and businesses. A search of the woman's home revealed an unexpected and chilling discovery. Multiple cameras had been installed throughout the house, all pointed in different directions. What initially appeared to be a normal security system was something more unsettling. Reviewing her personal recordings, investigators found footage spanning several days, including video of her leaving the house, walking through the neighborhood, and, most disturbingly, her actions at the park near the community center. She had captured the very moment of the attack on her own devices, completely unaware that the community center cameras had also recorded it. The realization hit hard. She had incriminated herself without knowing it, leaving behind a digital trail that would leave no room for doubt. Further analysis of her recordings revealed more than just the attack. Investigators noticed a pattern of behavior suggesting that she had been observing the neighborhood in ways that were unusual and increasingly obsessive. She seemed preoccupied with capturing moments on camera, filming herself and her surroundings continuously. The attack itself appeared to be an impulsive act, yet the fact that she recorded it even unknowingly suggested a deeper detachment from consequences. Authorities pieced together her movements and the timeline of her recordings, confirming that she had been alone in the park when the incident occurred, ruling out any possibility of external involvement. The discovery sent ripples through the investigation. The woman, previously regarded as a model member of the community, was now revealed to be the person responsible. The unsettling truth became clear. Someone capable of attacking a child had been hiding in plain sight, living an ordinary life while secretly documenting her own actions. The case took a darker turn as authorities realized the depth of her detachment and the way technology had unintentionally exposed her. The investigation shifted from searching for a suspect to confirming the extent of her behavior, revealing a chilling story of someone who had been unknowingly caught by the very devices she had installed for safety and observation, leaving a community stunned and wary of the world around them. Investigators approached the woman's home with caution, fully aware that the evidence they had collected left little room for denial. When they entered, the atmosphere was tense and silent, the air heavy with anticipation. The walls of the house were lined with cameras and monitors, each device capturing a different angle of daily life, from the kitchen to the front yard. Every step the woman took was documented, her movements observed and recorded in ways that now worked against her. Authorities reviewed footage from each camera, carefully noting the sequence of events and the moments leading up to the attack in the park. The clarity of the evidence was undeniable, and for the first time, they could see the scene from multiple perspectives, confirming her presence and actions without question. The woman was questioned in her home, confronted with the recordings that showed her leaving the house, approaching the park, and committing the act. She initially appeared confused, insisting that the footage must be fabricated or altered. Her denials were shaky, however, as investigators played the clips back frame by frame, highlighting details that could not be disputed. The tattoo on her forearm, the way she shifted her weight as she moved, the timing of her steps, all matched what had been captured by the community center's camera. Each revelation stripped away another layer of her protestations, leaving only the undeniable truth of her actions. As authorities continued to review her personal recordings, a disturbing pattern emerged. The cameras in her home had captured behaviors that suggested a growing obsession with documenting herself and her surroundings. She seemed fascinated by the act of observation, almost as if recording her own movements gave her a sense of control. In the footage, small moments of aggression and impatience could be seen in her expressions and gestures, previously unnoticed by anyone in the neighborhood. It became clear that the attack in the park was not entirely isolated, but part of a broader pattern of behavior that had been quietly developing over time. The investigators compiled a comprehensive timeline, linking each piece of footage to specific moments in the week leading up to the incident. They reconstructed her route to the park, her actions before and after the attack, and the way she had returned home, all captured by her own cameras. The level of detail was staggering, revealing how someone who seemed ordinary could conceal dangerous impulses so close to the community. The recordings also showed her unaware that the community center's camera had captured the attack, highlighting the cruel twist of fate that technology had exposed her secret. By the end of the day, the woman's position was clear. The evidence was overwhelming, leaving her with no plausible defense. The attack had been documented in ways that she had unknowingly created herself, exposing her in a manner both meticulous and indisputable. The investigation shifted from seeking answers to preparing the case for prosecution. while the neighborhood grappled with the realization that someone they had trusted and seen daily had committed a shocking act of violence. The footage became a central piece of the story, not just for the authorities but for the community, illustrating how hidden behavior and technology intersected to reveal a truth that no one could ignore. The unsettling awareness of what had been uncovered left a lasting mark on everyone involved, changing the way the town viewed safety, trust, and the ordinary routines of life. The arrest of the woman sent shockwaves through the neighborhood. News outlets covered the story extensively, replaying frames of the attack and emphasizing the chilling fact that she had lived quietly among those she harmed. Residents struggled to reconcile the image of the woman they thought they knew with the reality of her actions. Parents became hypervigilant, monitoring children more closely than ever before, while neighbors who had once exchanged casual greetings now looked at one another with suspicion and unease. The sense of safety that had defined the community for years was shattered, replaced by a lingering tension that made everyday routines feel fragile. As the legal process began, authorities presented the evidence in painstaking detail. The combination of community center footage, her own recordings, and witness accounts created a comprehensive picture of the crime. Prosecutors emphasized how the woman's obsession with recording her surroundings had ultimately led to her exposure. The public watched as the case unfolded, fascinated and horrified by the way ordinary technology had captured the extraordinary breach of trust. The girl who had been attacked remained at the center of the story, her presence a reminder of the real-life consequences of the crime. Counseling and support services were arranged, and her family became vocal advocates for both child safety and responsible use of surveillance technology. The courtroom proceedings drew national attention. People followed the case closely, analyzing every detail of the evidence and the timeline of events. Legal experts explained how the combination of physical evidence and digital recordings made the prosecution's case exceptionally strong. The woman's actions, once concealed behind the facade of normalcy, were laid bare for all to see. The psychological impact on the community was profound. Residents realized that someone could appear completely ordinary while harboring dangerous impulses. This revelation prompted conversations about the hidden complexities of human behavior, the risks that can exist even in familiar settings, and the ways technology can both protect and expose. In the weeks that followed, the neighborhood struggled to restore a sense of normalcy. The park, once a place of carefree activity, was now equipped with additional security measures. Parents accompanied their children more closely, and informal neighborhood watch groups formed to ensure safety. Despite these efforts, a shadow of unease lingered. The realization that violence could emerge from someone so close, someone previously considered trustworthy, left a lasting imprint on the collective consciousness. The attack had not only harmed a child, but had also fractured the community's sense of innocence and security. The case became a cautionary story that resonated far beyond the neighborhood. Articles, documentaries, and social media discussions explored how seemingly ordinary individuals can commit extraordinary acts, and how surveillance technology can both reveal and prevent harm. The woman faced legal consequences that reflected the severity of her actions, while the community grappled with the emotional aftermath. The girl's resilience and the support of her family became a source of hope and inspiration, showing that even in the wake of trauma, strength and recovery were possible. The story ended as a reminder of the fragile line between safety and danger, and how vigilance, awareness, and the unexpected role of technology can uncover truths that might otherwise remain hidden.